How to do, everybody? David from Flash by Vcyclenut. I'm actually going to be doing some more testing and exhaust for the 24 MT09. It's been a bit since I've done an MT09 specific exhaust on my 24 MT09, but I got a chance to get a good deal on the Termignoni. I know there's nobody really that has done testing or development on it, so I wanted to do testing, give people an option to have some mapping specific for it. We'll be going through with the stock airbox and DNA lid like I do with all of them. System weight in at about 11 pounds. Termignoni's generally associated with Ducati, and I've had their stuff on my Ducatis before. And like the Ducati stuff, this says titanium, but for a little canister, it's pretty heavy. The tubing is really nice and thick. I really would expect this system to last longer than the bike. I'm kidding, but I'm sure this would last a long time. It's definitely a high quality system made from good, thick tubing. And because it has just a little heavy. I mean, 11 pounds isn't that heavy, but this system is going to be loud. It's got this short little canister. It also has the piggy tail pipe that was made famous by Akrapovic. It's a little different, but Akrapovic back in the original FC09, the Gen 1 came out, and there was all kinds of theories about it adding mid-pipe length and how it would help in the mid-range. I honestly have never really seen that come out on the dyno where the added mid-pipe length from the curly Q or piggy Q or whatever we want to call it increase the mid-range, but we'll see how this one does. It does have a little kind of a dB killer. I'm sure that's what this is. It was really easy to take out. I will try it both in and out. I don't expect this to make much difference in either power or in sound levels, but we'll try it, get it all bolted up. I'll bolt it up, let you know if I have any issues, and we'll go from there. The Termignoni is fully on, and I think it looks pretty cool. It's really small. It's going to be really loud, but we'll see how it runs. Went on with no problem. As always, make sure you tighten everything loose. Put on everything loose. Start tightening from the back of the bike forward. There's like 3 bolts on the bracket on the back side of that canister that if you tightened everything else, that I'm guessing they would never line up. So anyway, went on pretty easy. Nothing to really report. See what the feels like on the street. I'll get my street mapping done, my dyno mapping done, and report back. Before I get into the dyno runs and numbers and all that good stuff, I wanted to go over some settings for you 24 to 25 MT09 owners. You can see I got almost 2,500 miles on my MT09. Back tire's about shot. I will replace it with the same tire because it's the only way to make sure my dyno runs are consistent. But that's not what this video is about. This video is about modes and modes. So I get a question a lot. So I know a lot of you are not taking advantage of everything that the MT09 has, because the question will come up, what do you do with the modes? And I'll say, well, I adjust power modes 1 through 4. And they'll be like, well, how's that affect rain mode and sport mode and all that? So let's explain that. So there are different rider modes. So let's change the displays, because some of you guys are using theme. Under theme, we can change the different displays. And the reason that I like theme 4 is because it gives this setting here where I can go in with the joystick and hitting enter and up and down, and I can highlight the power mode to and change the traction control mode and slide control and lift control to whatever I want. When I'm in a rider mode that's predefined, I can't change these. So if I'm on rain, I'm stuck with power mode 4, all these other settings. If I'm in street, I get 2 across the board. If I'm in sport, I'm in 1 across the board. Well, my problem is that I always want my traction control, slide control, and lift control at 1, but I don't always want to be in power mode 1. Power mode 1 is, after the flash, is a very aggressive, very responsive mode. It still is easy to find neutral throttle, but it's a little more aggressive than I would want, say, around town, or especially on a twisty road. For me, the tighter the road gets, the more technical the road gets, the more technical my throttle control needs to be, the more I'm going to go down in the power mode. Now, power mode 4 after my flash is just the stock mapping with the restrictions in it, so you're not going to want to use that. But after the flash, power modes 1, 2, and 3 all make full power at full throttle, but they feel different through the throttle. So this is a tool that you have at your disposal to set up the bike to be the most fun, safe, and work the best on the road type that you're on. So if you're using the custom mode and you leave this power mode highlighted, anytime the throttle is closed, you can just come back to your joystick and press it and change the mode. So you can literally, anytime the throttle's closed, and it stays highlighted the entire time. You don't have to keep going through menus and stuff. It'll just stay highlighted. So as you're riding, every time the throttle closes, push down, you can change the way the bike feels and delivers. If you do like different traction control and slide control settings, you can also set them here and change them. And that way you can get what you want on the fly with the bike and really use a tool that is there that many people are not using. So I hope this helps you get the most out of the bike, and of course, the most out of my custom mapping. As I said, the exhaust is definitely on the loud side and aggressive. Also, as I said, didn't really see any significant gains in the mid-range based off the longer mid-pipe length, but I do really like how the system looks. I didn't find it aggravatingly loud, but it's definitely on the loud side and aggressive. So if you're in the market for a loud, aggressive exhaust that works well, definitely consider the Termignoni. Like I said, it's definitely well built with really nice thick tubing and heavy-duty components. So to the dyno runs. So this is what my 24 MT09 made stock on my dyno. And this dyno run compares the stock 24 MT09, the red line, versus the stock bike with only my custom mapping for the stock bike. I do get questioned a lot. People assume that they have to put an exhaust on to get my flash, and definitely not true. I have mapping very specifically made for the stock bike, and this is the results of the dyno run on a 100% stock bike with my flash. Nice gains everywhere, huge gains on top. So let's compare what we get when we then add the Termignoni with it fully mapped out. So the red line is the stock bike with my flash. The blue line is the Termignoni exhaust with my flash custom mapping for it. And what you see is, well, they didn't really gain much in the middle, right? But we did get nice gains on top with almost a full additional 5 horsepower. So basically 7,000 on RPMs on up. We have decent gains to talk about. Below that, about the same, no losses. But I have had most of the other systems to get some gains in here. So like I said, that extra added mid-pipe length really didn't add anything to the mid-range, but it does look cool. So when we look at where my bike started stock to where it is now with the Termignoni exhaust and my custom mapping, you see we gained about 11 horsepower from peak to peak, old peak versus new peak. If we go out to where close to where the old red line is, you can see it's a full 17 horsepower. And if we were shifting through the gears, we would just be staying out here where it's just major gains. Did flatten out this dip between 4 and 6,000. Make that little smoother delivery. But we still do have that little dip here around $7,000 that usually the DNA Stage 2 lid takes care of. So yeah, nice gains overall. Bike runs really well with it. Throttle response is great. Rips up wheelies in second gear, no problem. Just really much improved, obviously, with the flash. Bike is smoother, all that good stuff. So if you have the Termignoni exhaust, make sure you look at my mapping. Oh, I almost forgot. Let's look at, I talked about that DB killer, so let's look at what that DB killer did. So we see blue run is with the DB killer in, red run is with the DB killer out, and it costs us about a horsepower. Actually, not too bad of a loss for a DB killer. It did not make any difference at, well, it still was greater than 130 decibels on the run with it in and out. But what it did do is lower the volume at idle from around 78 decibels to around 72. So I didn't actually ride the bike around with the DB killer in, but I guess it would be a lot like the Akrapovic, that it would lower it if you're just trying to sneak out of the neighborhood as quiet as possible. But even with the DB killer, it is not that quiet. But around normal riding, it would make a difference in the sound level. But when you open her up, she still screams and is quite loud. Not hiding from anybody with this thing at full throttle. So head on over to Vcyclenut.com for your very best in flashing and performance parts needs. Head straight directly to my MT09 store that will be linked to in the description below. Get your ECU flashed, and again, make sure you get a flash or mapping that's done on both the street and dyno, not just on a dyno. So thanks guys for watching.